Good morning.
Morning, Bob.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, and you all out there. Happy
Indeed. Welcome, professional photographers of Idaho and beyond. I'm Bob Ryder.
I'm Larry Fry,
He's Larry Fry.
and welcome to 2021, and we're excited to be here.
This is going to be a good day today. We've got a good topic. You know, when I looked at scheduling this topic today, there's a technical side of this. All of the little things that you need to do to your things, cameras and websites and all that. And we kind of covered that in our year end.
Yep.
So I wanted today to be more about kind of the mindset going into 2021. And, you know, how do you start a new year on your feet, running, you know, tearing off at it? Like, how do we do that?
And I kind of hope people don't think that what our list is a definitive list. Hopefully they get to think that this is just to get them thinking about other things they might have to do.
Well, a lot of our conversations are just like that.
Yeah.
They're designed to get you thinking about, about a lot of things. And maybe, you know, I've said this before, maybe it's about making you squirm a little bit in your seat. You know, the thing that you should be thinking about that. Maybe you've seen it on a video, you know, the talking head kind of thing.
Or red.
Or red, sure.
Yeah, so,
and but what we wind up with is you know, the things that we don't want to do, we tend to back burner and then forget. Or at least that's me. Maybe I'm just talking about me.
And this just kind of puts it down into a little bit of a list where you can either check it off or ignore it, or maybe extrapolate and expand. So yeah.
So our topic today, let me jump down to that topic slide for us. Our topic today is 10 tips for starting strong. It looks like this, right? So I've got the guy running in the background with his briefcase, beating the clock. Like, how do we
Start strong.
set our minds for the race ahead?
Yep.
And I don't want to have this be a conversation about. I don't want to have this be a conversation about last year.
No. Or, you know, and I was thinking about making a comment, something like, you know, it should be gangbusters, and it may not be, but I think we're kind of headed in the right direction.
You know,
the second half.
Yeah. So second half COVID.
No. Second half, good year.
Okay.
Yeah. First half.
I've got a couple of peers that had their best year ever last year.
I don't think. Okay.
Not me.
Yeah.
But I've got friends that did, and that's encouraging.
Yeah, it wasn't a great year, but I think it was a limited year, and for a limited year, it was a pretty good year. Now, I sucked. I mean, pretty quite.
Your year sucked?
Yeah, I mean, I lost a lot of money, but you know, there's nothing. No large gatherings, and that, you know.
Right. So if you're in the gatherings business,
you're.
That was a brick house.
Yeah, and kind of like your business. You know, you're going to corporations and doing headshots or you want to, for 100 people or 50 people, and you can't. That's not happening.
I have clients that we were booked. We had 30, 40, 50 people scheduled, and they're like, nope.
Yeah.
And then I've got another client that we were supposed to go in and shoot their executive team, and that washed out because they're like, we're not letting anybody in our building.
Yeah.
So you know what? I really don't want to hang our hat on that.
No.
What I really want to do is we've got some great folks. Kimberly Mintner's here, and Happy New Year, darling. It's great to see you. And Buford Higgins and Carol Lanham. I don't know you folks, so I'm glad you're here too.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Tell us where you're watching from and what you're into photographic wise. Photography. Yeah, we're all photographers. Photographers here.
I are a photographer.
I are a photographer. So let's jump right into this. Here's our topic slide again. I'm going to feed this up to them, and then I'm going to go to our first point. And you have to bear with me a little bit as I'm working through. I'm controlling the stream while I'm talking, right? So sometimes I'll be like, totally forgot what I was going to say. But here we go. Our first topic slide for today is know who you are. And I say this like that because it's just important to know what you're trying to do, right?
Well, and this group is open to everyone. So it's certainly not open to just a professional that's trying to make a living on photography. And that includes some hobbyists that are very advanced amateurs. And there's some great people in here. So you do have to know who you are. And should you want to make a little bit of money or cash out of your passion or your hobby, you have to define that. Same way if you're a part-time, same way if you're full-time. You have to define those. Who am I? What do I want to do? And
well, I think if you know who you are, then it's easy to figure out who you might want to be, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that might look like, and I meant to put this on there and I didn't. Let's just jump back to that slide for a second. Knowing who you are, hobbyist is one thing. I know people that are enthusiasts, not just a hobbyist. And I say it like that because you can be an enthusiast, that weekend warrior, that you're working for a little bit of cash because your peers, your family group, your friends group has or your work group has recognized that you have a skill set.
Yeah, and I think you know what I kind of lump this in with is you're a photographer that aspires to get better, to know the craft better, know your camera better, know some of these weirdo rules and stuff that physical rules like the rule of thirds and the inverse square law, and that kind of stuff.
Inverse square law is pretty brilliant. So I think we should make a whole episode just about the inverse square law because.
But yeah, I'm with you. I know hobbyists. I know
that's the nerd in me talking.
Weekend warriors and all good, and they all are striving to improve their craft, which is actually what we're all about.
Always about improving the craft and building relationships. That defines who Professional Photographers of Idaho is. We've got Ailey Nolan is watching. She's a model photographer out in eastern Idaho. In Rexburg, fantastic. She says she's a weekend warrior. Maxine May, it's great to see you on.
Hey, Maxine, how are you?
You just posted something the other day that I showed my family, that I showed my wife, and she's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "You don't know her."
Yeah.
But I enjoy following you out there in the world. And Andy Bingham says, "Hi, guys. We've got a dozen people on this morning. That's pretty cool for a New Year's Day."
Yeah.
I did not last night.
Oh no, I know. I was. As a matter of fact, I was sitting listening to the outside sounds at about 8:30. I think everybody, there was some at midnight because I did stay up till midnight, but that's not unusual for me. And so anyway, it was kind of a dull ish deal. So
sat on the couch, read a book. My wife sat on the couch, read a book. Dog sat between us, that kind of thing.
Read a book.
Yeah. Right. The fireworks in the neighborhood. My goodness. I won't camp on that topic, but stressful for my dog.
Yeah, your dog's kind of wired.
Stressful for me with a little history. So
so
that's that. So let's get on. So along with this topic of knowing who you are and defining what you want to be there, the next point here, I'm going to jump right to it. It looks really similar, so make sure you're reading down the page here. Know or define where you want to go. So if you know who you are, perhaps you can define where you want to go. And I was going to jump back on that first slide there for a minute. I'll jump back real quick. The enthusiast who picks up a little bit of work here and there, that my buddy Craig is that. He's a cop. He's a detective, but he's the photographer in the department, and he catches up some of the really important things that they do. And is he any less an important photographer because he's not doing it full time?
No, and I've met Craig and talked with him, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he does.
So no, absolutely not. And to go back to the first slide, if you know who you are on the hobbyist, weekend warrior, part-time, full-time professional, that just ties in with the second slide because now you know where you're going to go, or at least you should have a good idea of where you want to head. You want to improve. I think the last thing is improve your craft. You want to create more stuff, being a creative. How about growing your business? Maybe you're a advanced amateur and you made, I don't know, let's just pick a number. You made $5,000 last year. I know, probably not because of COVID, but let's just pick a number. You made $5,000 and maybe this year you want to make, I don't know, maybe you want to buy that new EOS R with a big old fancy lens on it, and you need about $7,000. Maybe,
Yeah,
so you made $5,000.
I looked at making the jump from my EF system and all my L series glass and my camera bodies into that system, and I'm probably looking at like 14 or 15 grand to make the jump. And guess what? I ain't doing it this year.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Anyway. I don't need to talk He brings me coffee every week.
Yeah.
This is a good deal. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
So let's see. Carol Lanham says, and I hope I'm saying your last name right. Happy New Year. Just moved here from in September from Alaska. Left behind a studio and photography workshop company. I'm going to jump into that and see. Now going to just venture around and see new things. Awesome. So the next question I have for you, Carol, is how did you find Professional Photographers of Idaho? And we hope that you'll get involved with this.
And welcome to Idaho, by the way.
Yeah, welcome to Idaho. Although Alaska, man.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
my niece lives up there.
I love the place.
I do too, but I only go when it's nice. So.
I spent time out on the Aleutian Islands back in
not Dutch Harbor.
Like 89, 90 time frame. I was out on the Aleutian Islands.
You were a young guy then.
Because I'm an old guy now, right?
Yeah.
She found us on Facebook, and thank you. That's good. I'm just grateful that you're here and wanting to get on board and find a community that can work with you here in Idaho. It's good stuff. So back to point 2 here for a minute. This is nowhere to find where you want to go. So I didn't say this at the beginning, and I meant to right at the beginning. I'm talking to the camera here. If you haven't got your notepad and paper yet, I think this is the kind of presentation today that you should take these notes. I don't always build a slide for everything that we're going to talk about, and today I did because I think they're all salient points. And I think if you're a note-taking kind of person, and I am, and of course you can watch this on replay too. And we're recording, so I'm hoping to push this up to a new YouTube page.
No, and they'll be on the website, so there'll be a link on. There'll be a tab on the website and links to this as a member benefit, by the way.
Yep.
So the folks that are tuning in and aren't a member, sorry.
We're going to get you at the end of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
It's important to me. So back to the slide here for a minute. I just wanted to say, grab those notes and just take a little time to look at this, because I think over the next coming week is a good time to chew on some of this information. And so Larry covered all these points. So I think I'm just going to roll right back to us for a second and then pull up our next slide in the queue. And, I like this next slide a whole lot.
Yep.
So this next point, and I think that we are probably going to pull a show in just exclusively on this next point, because it's really what I feel like what I want my 2021 to look like for me. And that doesn't mean it has to look that way for you, but there's richness in this. And instead of just talking about, let's put that up.
Slide that in.
Understand what you excel at, what you're good at, and share those skills with somebody else.
And we've talked about this kind of ad nauseum last year, but it bears repeating over and over. As a matter of fact, I was just telling Bob before the show that I was reading F-stoppers. We're not paid for any of this stuff, so we can say kind of whatever we want. But I was reading a little thing on F-stoppers, and they pretty much went over one of the shows that we had, which was there's no competition.
Collaboration over competition.
Collaboration. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to share a little secret with everybody. I'm not the best at marketing. I do pretty good, except for most of my stuff's word of mouth, and I kind of want to do something different, so I'm kind of have to market myself different. So
that's not an easy transition.
No, and so I paid for a course or class or whatever you want to call it about collaboration.
Oh, neat.
So,
who was that? Was that a photographic thing, or was that something else?
Yeah, Jeff Lubin.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, and it's it wasn't $5. It was a bit of money. Yeah,
right? I get it.
So, I'm gonna learn how to do basically collaborative marketing with other professionals, which I think is extremely important, especially in today's day and age. So, and so on that slide though, it says what you excel at and share those skills with others. So there's one thing that we can all do is build our portfolio whatever we're doing. If you're not shooting every other day or every third day,
I make it a point to run the camera once a week.
So if you're running your camera without a paid client in front of you, invite somebody else over.
Yeah,
I mean. It was so much fun the other night.
I think our PPI community is really good at this. I think you were going to talk about Shooting Star.
Yeah, we went down to the Star thing. It was awesome because I know a smidge about this
About the
astrophotography. Yeah.
astrophotography?
Kim knows a whole bunch that I don't know. And Laquita was new, and Sam, the guy that was there, was also new. And so we all learned a bunch of stuff.
Laquita's on, by the way. She just popped on the feed. That's great.
Hi, Laquita. So anyway, share your craft. Don't be afraid to step into a.
I just shared my fog machine with Jason McAdam yesterday.
Hey, listen, if anybody wants a fog machine, I have one also.
Okay.
So I'm willing to share that. It just sits up in the closet.
Yeah,
So
I pull it out like twice a year. And
But share your craft, share your passion, because I'm not too shabby at off-camera flash in the daylight, dark, fog, whatever. I can pretty much handle almost anything outside at any location with anything you have, just about. And I would say that I would be happy to take somebody out and say, what do you want to know? You want to start with the trigger, or what do you want to do? So just do that. It's going to make you better.
That's good. Our next topic on this 10 tips for starting is this is the inverse of what we were just talking about, right?
Yep.
So this is learn more about your weak spots or gaps in your skill set. And so for a lot of us guys, I don't think we want to think weaknesses. No. So I'd rather think of things in gaps. Like I have a gap in this. You know what? 6 months ago, I had a gap in my video skill set.
Yeah, and you ought to see it now. It's it's just like anything else, right?
Yeah.
If you want to be good at something, work at it. Go out and play with it. And especially in the digital age, there's a lot of us that shot film, but in the digital age, there's no reason to go. What are you burning up? Battery power? I mean,
right.
You recharge your battery.
Pixels, man, burn pixels. Yeah. It used to be silver halides, right?
But there's weak. I have weak spots. Everybody's got. I don't do headshots near as well as Mr. Ryder here does. That's a weak spot.
Well, and we've talked about specialties a lot, and it's just the thing that I enjoy, and we're going to cover that too because I think that's super important. But develop a plan to educate yourself, improve your imaging, or etc. Fill in the gaps, and that's another thing that I really want to do this year. And my wife and I were just talking about this. Come back on here. We're gonna be hiring somebody part-time. It's the first time since I've had I've had people that worked with me. I've had interns before. I've done mentorships before, but we're looking to hire somebody part-time going into the first quarter of this year to cover some of those gaps that I've got. And like so graphic design for me.
Yeah.
I hate it.
And
right?
speak about that a little bit. Maybe your gap is accounting.
Right.
Maybe. So this.
Well, I'm really lucky there because my gap is accounting, kind of.
Well,
but my wife handles it.
We're not talking strictly taking pictures and skill sets behind the camera. We're talking about everything for your business. So if it's accounting, it's accounting. If it's maybe it's first contacts. I mean, and maybe you'll find that bubbly person, which I'm not, that just likes to go out and talk to people and say, hey, you want to get your picture taken? I know a guy. So anyway,
I know a guy.
Yeah. So the gaps are not just photographic gaps or your knowledge gaps. It's what are your gaps?
Well, and we spend a lot of time talking about non-photographic issues. Mm-hmm. We talk a lot about things that impact our photographic industry. And one of my favorite things to do is look outside my industry for inspiration, look outside my industry for trends, because if we're all doing the same thing in the industry, and this is another, we've got a slide coming up on this. Yeah. Maybe I should just run into that here. Let's pull that up. Nope, we're going to put that on the back burner for just a minute. Okay. Come into this next slide. Let's see. Corey's on. Hey.
Hey, Corey.
I think we're on the far camera right now.
All right.
All right.
Congratulations, Corey, on all your awards from Colorado there. Awesome job.
Awesome stuff. All right. So our next slide here, make time for yourself.
Yeah.
Every day.
Pretty important. Yeah.
Where this comes into, and we've talked about this, I talked about this when I had Garrett Bake on earlier this fall. Making time for yourself is part of that complete self picture, whether it's time for prayer time or meditation time, whether it's your exercise, your fitness, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe you have set that as a New Year's resolution to do that. I'm going to jump into this other camera here because I'm using my hands a lot. And I'll put that over on the side there. But maybe your new resolution is fitness related, or weight loss related, or whatever that looks like. You need to make time for yourself every day. And sometimes for me, that means getting up earlier so I have time, because I hear that a lot. I've said that a lot. I don't have time. I'm too busy. Guess what? If you're too busy to make time for yourself, you're too busy to make time for your family.
Yeah. And I would venture to say that not everybody is too busy to make time for themselves.
I think busy is bullshit.
That's what we've done that too.
That was a topic that we covered earlier in the fall as well. So then the last part of that, number 6, is devote time to others. And for me, that's my family. Spending time. I spent 5.5 hours yesterday with my 8-year-old and 2 of his 8-year-old buddies at Urban Air. I brought a book. I actually brought my laptop and put this whole thing together.
I think that was
there
awesome.
at Urban Air yesterday. Here's a tip. Let's go right into the telecamera here for a minute. Here's a tip for Urban Air. They have a parent lounge upstairs.
Nice.
Recliners and tables and power and Wi-Fi, right? Okay. So awesome. Making time for others, giving yourself to others, and you're going to see that theme throughout. Sharing your skill set, sharing the thing that you're good at, devoting time to the people that are close around you. I made time for my little boy yesterday, and we had a great time. We ate pizza, and we just had a really darn good time. Some of the other parents were there, and it was my wife. It was like a date with my wife in a really, loud, sweaty environment. Anyway, it was
nice.
It was good, right? But that's part of that making time.
And we won't be sponsored by them either. So.
Right. No, we won't. So that dovetails real nicely with this next slide of ours.
Yep. It's something that I do a lot of. So, and that's volunteer.
Yep.
I work with 3 nonprofits, and I'm happy to. Some people say, "Jesus, 3," and sometimes I think that too. But it's stuff that I'm passionate about and that I want to do. So, I would encourage everybody to. You don't have to do 3. Pick one. And
so at my peak, I was sitting on 4 boards of directors all at the same time. And it was 4 wildly different things that I was involved in. Here, I sit on 2 boards currently, one being Professional Photographers of Idaho with you and Jen Alvey and Sam Marvin and Sherry Barron, right? And I spend a ton of time with this. It's bigger than me. And that's really
And every organization that I'm in is bigger than the people that are on those boards.
Yeah.
And more important also, or I wouldn't be on those boards. More important in the grand scheme of things, or you wouldn't do it. But it's rewarding when it actually works, when you put out a mission statement and you practice everything and things work, you feel pretty darn good. And there's not any pay involved, but I don't, it's just cycles.
So money is a thing, right?
Yeah.
And pursuit of money is part of the business thing that we do. And it's not greed. It's making a living. It's supporting the family. It's paying the bills. If that's you as a photographer, maybe that's not you as a photographer. I've got really good friends who are part-time photographers, including you. Mm-hmm. You have a day job. We've talked a lot about this because I think that there is a little bit of discomfort in I'm not sure I'm pro enough to participate in Professional Photography Idaho, and like Gordon is one of my best friends, Gordon Smith, and I don't know if you're on today, Gordo, but we spend a lot of time talking to Gordon. He's on the other part of the state.
Yeah, we actually have a running 3-way chat or message or phone thing or something.
It's a thing,
and it just pops up every once in a while.
I spammed you guys with videos of what this setup looked like as I developed it this week.
We had to tell him it looked good.
Yeah. Yeah. So can I comment about the hair light? See this beautiful silver hair that Larry's got?
Hey.
It's you know what? It's like silver fox. I love it. So that's hair. I've got a light up above and behind Larry. This is an aside. This is just for your benefit. So that's a hair light, right? But
sharing our craft.
But I don't have hair, so I call that a dome light. There you go.
Which was hilarious.
Just wanted you to hear that. Ailey Nolan says, I love this advice. And
Thanks,
I really needed to hear that today because this is conceptual. And sometimes conceptual stuff, you're like, well, they're either going to love it or hate it, right? They're either going to watch or they're going to leave.
Yeah, and for those of you that are watching and this isn't kind of your cup of tea, come on back because I'm telling you every Friday.
Because I'm going to go full nerd on you next week.
Full auto, yep.
Full nerd.
So as far as volunteer, we go back to that for just and kind of close it out. If you'd like to volunteer and use your photographic skills, there are uses for that also. As a matter of fact, 2 out of the 3 groups that I'm involved with, I do the photography for them because and it's let's go back to practice your craft, right? So how much more practice? I mean, if you want to practice and you want it to mean something, then volunteer.
Well, and let's talk about that giving for a minute. I had a really cool experience this week. I was invited to Meridian Police Chief Jeff Levy. I was invited to his retirement party this week. And the guy's got like 35 years in law enforcement, 24 of it with Meridian. He's been the chief for a long time. I do pro bono work for the police department. That is my give. I'm a retired cop. And my belief is that every cop should be photographed professionally in their career. And most never are. So I give that to them, and it's such a fantastic feeling. And this week, I just got to spend a little bit of time. The local FBI, I'm not even sure what his title is, supervisor, agent in charge, HMFIC, I don't know.
Special agent in charge.
Yeah, it's probably him.
Yeah.
They were there. The city attorney was there. It's just a great opportunity. And I was in that gallery simply because I had given my time, and I continue to give my time. We're shooting again in about a month.
Yeah.
With another dozen or 15 people.
So let's talk about the benefit of volunteering, which is...
It just feels good, man.
Well, that feels good. But guess what? If you're looking at Greenbuck, I shot a family reunion last summer. Why? Because the only reason the guy hired me is because I knew him from my volunteer work.
Nice. And there is that.
Yeah.
It's
a tangent. I don't go out when I'm volunteering. I don't go out and say, "Hey, I'm a photographer, and would you like to hire me?"
Well,
but people say
it's definitely not a tit for tat. It's definitely not. Right. Hey, I'm going to fill your cup now. It's time for you to fill my cup.
But if they say, do you do? I mean, you're pretty good at this. Do you do side jobs or whatever? Yeah. Hey, I got a business card. Here you go. So, oh crap.
That's a good time to jump to our next slide. Larry's going to go to the other side. He just poured his coffee on my floor again. But that's okay. I'm just going to carry it here. I'm going to move us to the next point. We're at 1:30. If you ever want to know what about 30 ounces of coffee looks like on carpet, you could look at my feet. But he missed my feet, so that's really good. Aileen Nolan, thank you. Volunteering for any cause is the most rewarding of all parties for all parties involved. I completely stand behind and echo everything Larry and Bob are saying. Oh, that's just sweet. Thank you for that. Even if you volunteer for something non-photography related, you'll find it comes full circle. I sit on my board for the HOA, which is about as unrewarding as you can get because most people hate their HOA, but I feel compelled to serve because I have that servant experience. So I'm going to jump over here to the next point because I think it's weird just watching me stand here talk. The next point here is watch and listen. So this is something that I have to really take my time and do intentionally. That's kind of sloshing down there.
It's all right. It's fine. You're going to be good.
I'm not too worried about it, brother. Sorry, folks, just a little aside here. Let's see. Let's go take the wide shot here. Can you see Larry? Larry is not on set. Show the audience what Larry has in his hand. Paper towels. He's in mop-up phase right now. All right, sorry for that. I'm going to come back here to Telly for just a second. This is real life, folks. Again, this isn't a paid thing that we do. This is just us falling in line and giving something to our photographic community. And so just take it for what it is. We're having a little fun here. The good thing about me and Larry is we laugh a lot together. I'm going to have to post that video of our joyride out in Nevada. Where were we? Wendover. That was good.
It wasn't exactly it kind of was a joyride.
Well, it didn't start out as a joyride, but it sure finished as a joyride. All right, so back to the point here. This is point 8. Watch and listen. I have to thoughtfully make myself shut up. That should resonate with those of you that know me well enough. See, it says why others are doing, but I think I meant what. See what others are doing. Hear what others are saying in your industry. Just listen to what's being said. Like we were talking about collaboration over competition.
Yes.
And in your listening, you found out somebody else was talking about that too.
Yeah, it's amazing it's kind of amazing doing these shows once a week and the topics that we choose and the topics we talk about. And then to see industry, I would say leaders, because they're published regularly, talk about the same stuff and almost verbatim. I mean, it's the same talking points, I guess. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting to see.
They're trolling PPI.
Yeah.
They're trolling Professional Photographers of Idaho.
Yeah, not really. but it was just good to see that we're not alone. We're on point on some of this stuff and not standing out there going, hey,
it's just nice to know that what's important to me is important to other people. Yeah. And certainly some of these episodes that we've done, we've had just such a huge response from after the fact. And
you certainly want to extrapolate. So hopefully these shows make you think and not just react.
Yeah.
So it's meant to make you think and not think just in today's thing, not to think strictly in photographic terms, like I'm going to volunteer so I can get clients. No. You volunteer to give back.
Yeah.
The clients just come.
It's just the natural way of things, right?
So that's just a side benefit. So
I'm going to come back into point 8 here.
Okay, perfect.
Watch and listen, see what others are doing, hear what others are saying in your industry. And I said this already, I love to listen outside my industry. Mm-hmm. I like to see what the food truck industry is doing. That is a fascinating business model, right?
Yep.
I'd like to see that a lot of the food trucks have set brick and mortar restaurants. And now some of the bigger restaurants that have not been able to sustain themselves in this COVID environment, some of those big restaurants are moving to a food truck business model. Yeah. And it's like, wow, that's just, I love to listen and watch to other industries and see how we can draw parallels.
One of the topics that we covered was innovation, right?
Yeah.
Basically, I think what the saying is innovate or die. And it might not be that stringent, but it's pretty close. So, the food truck industry, talk about that because of COVID, they're huge now.
Yeah.
Here in Boise. They didn't used to be. So
I think they were definitely on the up and coming before we even got to where we are now with.
But when you can't go out to a restaurant.
Right.
Yeah.
The food trucks are just a hit.
Yeah. So if you extrapolate that, I know you've got an idea for a truck. But if you extrapolate that to other industries, which is what I think that you're talking about, what are they doing? What's new? And by new, I don't mean new. I mean by necessity. Necessity is a mother of invention.
Well, and I think that one of the things that intrigues me is looking and listening at what other industries are doing, whether it's I'll tell you what, our hot water heater needed replaced. And the company that came out and did it, they sent a guy out within an hour, dressed well, identification, name, picture, all that stuff. We knew who we were expecting.
Yep.
And we've kind of talked about this before in another way, but they sent out a guy right away. Like we just felt like, wow, that's incredible customer service. He set up the whole thing and he said, okay, these guys, so-and-so and so-and-so will be here at such and such a time with your hot water heater. How's that work for you? It worked great. He wrapped it up. We signed, he wrapped it up. And then at the appointed time, that crew came and did the hot water heater. And I'm like, wow, I've never worked in an industry or worked with an industry that did business that way. They're doing it differently.
Yeah. And
they sent an advance team.
Yeah. And that's, again, we go back to one of our topics of what you can do different. This is customer service that you can do differently. And, a lot of it has to do because of technology has changed a lot. So now you can get text messages with pictures. You can get emails with pictures. You couldn't do that before. You get a phone call, but nothing else. But more importantly on that point is the time, because now, well, in my experience, I had similar to Bob. I didn't have a hot water heater that went out, but I had some plumbing done, and we will be there between noon and I think it was 2 o'clock. So they narrowed it down to a 2-hour window. And before the guy got there, he called 15 minutes ahead of time and said, "I'm on my way." Texted actually. So we knew exactly. When
So you know what you're getting is you're getting those touch points, right?
Yep.
And you know who's really good at this?
No.
Sam Marvin.
See, I've never watched Sam work. I need to do that.
He's just, well, he gave us a presentation at
It was at Albion, wasn't it?
at Albion last year.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave us a whole presentation that kind of surrounded this whole touch points concept, right? So Sam's really good at those touch points. So again, listening outside the industry, watching outside of our industry and seeing what they're doing. Well, they're improving those touch points all the time.
Yep.
So guess what? I'm hearing that. Like, how can I improve those touch points? One of the things that I feel, and maybe you'll feel the same way about this, and I guarantee that some of you do, reaching out to the client and just saying, "Hey, have any needs that I can address for you?" seems salesy.
Yeah.
But it really isn't salesy. It's, "Hey, I'm thinking of you, and any needs that you need me to address right now." I did this recently in the fall with one of my long-term clients who we've done a ton of headshot work, both at their facility and they send me their new people. And she's like, "Holy cow, I've got 4 people I need to send your way." I got busy and it's been on the back of my mind. I've been meaning to do it, but thank you for contacting me. I'm like, yeah, I need the work. But it's not really about that, right? It's not just about the work. It's a touch point. I reached out and said, "Hey, thinking about you guys, haven't seen you for a while. Anything you need me to pick up for you?" And they were like, "Yes, thank you so much for nudging my brain," because we're all in that same place. Like, everybody I talk to is like, their email's full, their text messages are full, their voicemail boxes are full.
Marketing.
They're trying to do 5 or 6 or 10 different things all at once, right?
Yep.
And so that touch point is just a way of saying, "I'm thinking about you." It's like sending your Christmas card, right?
Exactly. Yep.
All right, back to point 8. I want to wrap this one up. We're coming short on time. We now have a 55-inch clock in front of us.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's pretty cool. Look for value in what you see and hear, and don't diss what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's don't diss what you don't know. Oh, I don't do that.
This is rampant.
Yeah, it is.
On social media, the whole keyboard warrior thing.
What's it? What the way old saying? Because I'm way old.
Do you need some coffee?
No, I still have a little bit left, but I'm afraid to touch that cup anymore. So,
Sorry, man. Had to go there.
Never criticize a man unless you've walked a mile in his moccasins. That was the saying way back in the day. I don't know if you could use the word moccasins anymore, but shoes. Let's do that. And it's so true, because you can't, you shouldn't be banging on somebody that you have no idea.
Well, and if you see somebody doing something a little bit differently than you are, they're not doing it wrong. They're doing it different.
Yeah.
Right?
And maybe their way is better than the way you are doing.
Well, and that's entirely possible, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to jump into the next point here. It's ask and answer the hard questions about you and your work. Ask and answer the hard questions about you and your work. This might look a lot like asking your friends. So I did that this week, right? So this week, Larry, I was building up our new set for the new year. We've got new lights. We've got, we're standing, not sitting.
Yep.
It's a whole new operation really going on here. And throughout the week, I was spamming you guys with videos like, I need to know what you'd change on this. And we started this without a backlight, added a backlight. We added a few things here and there. And maybe that's not the hard questions that I'm talking about, but it's a good way. Like, there is somebody there in your circle that can tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Yeah. And your second point is it's easy to stay in your comfort zone, and it's hard to stare down the tough stuff. And the tough stuff is, maybe you shouldn't be. I'm just going to pull something out, but maybe you shouldn't be a wedding photographer. Maybe and that's, I guess I'll use myself as an example of that. Because no, seriously, I enjoy it.
Not sure where you're going with that. But let's find out.
I've been doing this. I've been doing it for 15 years. I've been shooting weddings for 15 years.
It's a long time.
But I just finally got tired of the bridezillas and the momzillas and the
mob, mother of the bride.
Yeah, the walletzilla, and I'm tired. I'm literally tired of it. I don't mind.
So it's time to step away.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind the work, although it's it's tough on an old guy like me because I'm usually out for 12 to 14 hours on a wedding at any one given time. But I don't mind that, and I certainly know how to I think I know how to capture a wedding, so I'm not bad there. Got all the equipment, all that stuff, but it's just the constant. Well, we told you. Grandma was going to be there. How come you didn't shoot her picture? Well, because nobody said anything. So.
I think that about the time that you're feeling worn out on something, step away.
Yeah.
Right. This is going to play into point 10 really, really well here in just a minute. But I just want to hit this last bit on point 9. So you're looking at things. You're looking at what's around you. You're looking at your work. You're looking at your personal life. You're looking at how you structure the 24 hours that you're given in a day. And so I'm asking you, what's wrong with this picture? Literally, like, what's wrong with this picture? And figuratively, what's wrong with this picture?
Yeah.
Like, what maybe do I need to look at? Like,
and a lot of people I work my butt off and I'm not going anywhere. So what's...
Oh, that's a big one, I think, in our industry is work. My mom's calling. I'll have to... Sorry, Mom. I'm dropping you.
We're live.
We're live. I'll call you back in just a few minutes. I got to get off the horn here. Let's jump. I don't want to hammer that too much.
Yeah.
I want to take a minute. We're going to jump to point 10. All right. Here's the next point coming up. I love this point.
Yeah, me too. This is do what you love, ditch the rest, and yeah, just exactly what we're talking.
This is just where you just were.
Yep. So, I didn't enjoy it anymore. COVID took a big chunk out of my day, which it turned out to be okay with me. And so I'm headed toward a new, entirely different direction. When you spill coffee, you can't get your words out. So
I've got coffee for you.
I know. Do what you love, ditch the rest.
You know what?
I think that's pretty sound advice. But you could play in the rest. I mean,
I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
Spill your coffee outside before you come in, and we'll just share this coffee.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to buy 2 coffees and dump one of them outside.
That's what I'm saying.
And
right there where you park.
Yeah. Okay.
You're like, I spilled it getting out of the truck. Got that out of the way.
We'll be over later to shampoo Bob's carpet.
I'm sorry. I'm lost in this for a minute. Listen, about 3 years ago,
Kimberly Minter, number 10 for the win.
Yeah. This is legit. I'm going to jump right in here to the telecamera. About 3 years ago, I decided I was all in for headshots. And I get asked, just headshots? I'm like, specifically headshots. Like, I adore one-on-one time with individuals. So the volume work is volume work, right? You get maybe a moment, maybe 3 minutes with somebody in front of the camera in the volume work. It's never that long. Certainly in the construction industry, I'm photographing guys and they're in front of the camera for maybe 25 seconds. They're like, yep, that's me, good enough. But the work that I do with individuals feeds me. Mm-hmm. I love it. I love that time with adults and hearing their story and guess what? I've become part of their story. Mm-hmm. And I love to share my story. I've got a really interesting past. I've done really interesting things with my life. And this is the part of my life where I'm doing the gentle things, where I'm taking the time to meet people and talk to people and learn about that individual. So that is, for me, doing the thing that I love. And I ditched the rest. I stopped, because there is that trickle down like you were talking about.
Yeah.
There is that trickle down of, hey, you did our company. Will you shoot our newborn baby? And I'm like, guess what? Nope.
Yeah.
And sometimes I was at, I think I talked about this a couple months ago. I was at a networking event recently and a gal's like, so would you shoot my family and my dogs? And I just, no.
Yeah.
And she was stunned. Like, you won't take pictures of my family and my dogs? I'm like, no, I'd love to have lunch with you. and your family and your dogs, especially because I love dogs. Sometimes I like dogs more than humans, but
Most of the time.
but I ditched what I don't love to do,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's been so good for me, man. It's been so good.
Yeah, and
So good.
And
I'm
part
not
of
gonna do
part
that
of my
again.
new thanks. And part of my new gig is bridal sessions, and I love interacting with the bride and groom. It's perfect. But when you have to wrap a ceremony around that and capture all that stuff in a few hours or an hour, and they want
Well, they set aside an hour for the bridal pictures, and you get 20 minutes.
20
10
minutes,
minutes,
maybe, yeah. So that's part of my new gig, but I've got some other ideas that I'm going to execute, and I do have a wedding booked for June 26th, but I think it's 26th, it's 24th, 26th, something
June.
like that. Yeah.
You got a little time to figure that
And
out.
I do have one wedding booked, but I did that 2 years ago. So, there's that. But the rest of it's going to be me doing what I want to do, what I love to do. And that's basically on location photography in most any setting. And I think that's going to be, to me, that's exciting.
And what's
So-
fun about that is that really you get to really play your skill set.
Yeah, well,
Right.
that's what we go all the way back about, hone your craft, and that's what I'm saying. I'm going to be out shooting some stuff with different focal lengths. This is going to be a switch for me, so it's not necessarily going to be the two cameras that I have, the 70-200 and 24-70 mainly for a wedding. It's not going to be just that. This will be different focal lengths. I'm going to do some compositing with it, so there'll be that.
Compositing's cool.
Yeah, so there's going to be all kinds of stuff that I'm going to be doing that's new, which I'm kind of excited about because I get to learn.
And you get to build new skill set and,
Yep.
and enjoy, again, learning the things that you fell in love with to start with.
Right.
That's really incredible, right? Appreciate all that you guys do for our association. Thank you. Maxine, that's great to
Hey,
hear.
thanks, Maxine. Appreciate that.
Like I said in the beginning, I'm super glad that you're here. All right, so listen, I want to come back. It's Larry and I here for a minute. We want to talk. I promised you this at the end. We're right on time here to be talking about this.
Which is weird.
Well, so that's our 10 tips, right? We wrapped that up pretty good. Let me throw that up. That was our 10 tips for starting the year strong. And honestly, man, if you made some notes on this, put them away. Need some coffee? Put them away for later in the year. And I like to visit my notes. I do it maybe not quarterly, more like 3 times a year. I'm getting my notebooks out and going back through and seeing what I was intending to do for the year.
Yeah, and this all goes back to we've done this before too. The business plan, right? I do a 5-year plan, but I do one every year, extend it out another 5 years. And man, those notes kind of go right in there. Like
That's amazing.
What did I have planned for this year? And I look back and kind of not where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
But you know what?
I think a lot of us are going,
Yeah.
poof, right?
Yeah.
That just
Yeah. But it doesn't matter because you've done what you needed to do and those plans change. But it's really good to take a look. Who are you? Where are you going to go? And make a plan for it.
Well, and I think that part of those plans needs to involve getting into our organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
Build your. See how I did that? Was just a
That was
great
great.
segue, man.
That was the best segue.
You just really
ever.
nailed that for me.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about membership in Professional Photographers of Idaho. Look, it's the best $100 you're going to spend in 2021. We didn't raise our price for the new year.
Nope.
You can do it on a monthly basis, and I think it's $9.95 a month. Committing for the year, or you can spend your $100. I think it's $99 for the year.
And the only thing that we ask on the $9.95 a month is that you commit for 12 months. So
Yep.
you can join in July, but we ask you to pay through June of the next year.
Yep.
So if you're going to join in July,
It's going to run you for 12 months.
It's going to run you for 12 months.
Yep.
Yeah.
So listen, I don't want to belabor this point. We're going to get off here in just a minute and move on with the rest of our day. I have scheduled, so for those of you that know me, I enjoy road cycling. I even brought my road bicycle out to the Bonneville Salt Flats. That was a lot of fun. I've scheduled a group ride out of Settlers Park for 2:00 today.
Nice.
We did this 2 years ago with the Trek Store in Boise. They hosted a ride on New Year's Day, and it was a blast. It's a social ride. This isn't like a high-performance ride. It's just a social ride where we get to get together. I want to come back and read that here in just a minute. I'm going to put this screen up for just a minute, right? The Join Us screen. So this is Professional Photographers of Idaho. It's PP of I. ppofidaho.com. And there's a Join Us tab, and that's how you can get involved with your membership. And if you're that person that's like, well, what does it give me? It's going to give you a community. It's going to give you relationship and time with others in person to build your skills and to pour into other people with the skills that you've got. It's all valuable any way you slice it.
And we are a nonprofit, so if you own a business, a small business, like almost all of us do, and you do some either training with us or travel with us, all that stuff's a write-off anyway. So
what's Ailey say? Ailey says, this is easily my favorite live you've ever done. A+ advice and fantastic information for any hobby or career. Thank you so much for this. Happy New Year to Larry, Bob, and everyone watching. Let's make the world better for all of us. I love you for that, Ailey.
Amen.
Yep.
Let's do it.
That's our 2021, right?
Yep.
So then let's just jump right over here next. Folks, we've got a great topic for you coming up next week. It is going to be backups, spares, and panic. Oh, my.
Which is almost what I did when I spilled the coffee, was panic, just about.
You know, you just have to step on and be like, squishy shoes, whatever. No. So next week, January 8th, we're back in the studio here with our live backups, spares, and panic. And I have 3 photographers in my circle that in the last month all had their camera quit on photo shoots. Backups, spares, and panic.
I forgot about
that.
This.
Burn in your stomach when the SHTF
hits the fan.
Right? When it hits the fan and the equipment you're relying on to produce what you need to produce quits. It stops. It's not there. It's not working. What do you do? And I have a remedy for that, man. I have a remedy.
That's awesome.
It's backups, spares, and panic. We're going to talk about it next week. And in the meantime, Happy New Year. Thanks so much for being here today.
Taylor's on. Hey, glad to see you're on.
Great to see you guys. I got to join in. Happy New Year. Can't wait to see what PP has planned for the year.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, folks. It's great being here with you every week, and we really appreciate that you're putting in your 2 cents over here on the comments. You can look for this coming up to be live on our webpage, and also probably on an up-and-coming YouTube channel. I'm hoping to get the whole year's worth all cataloged on a new YouTube channel for us.
Coffee spills and all.
Coffee spills and all. All right, y'all. Thanks so
Cheers.
very much.
Happy New Year, everyone.